Good morning, everyone. This will be our last little training session for the year. Most of you will watch this on record. Obviously, it's a busy time of year, but I'd like to just take this opportunity to say Merry Christmas to everyone. It's been an interesting, long year, 2020, and it's probably thrown up some challenges that none of us really expected. But congratulations to all of you who have made it through and survived this tumultuous year. And moving into Christmas, I hope you get some time to enjoy and relax with some family and friends and just take a bit of a breather. Hopefully 2021 will have less changes and less shocks and less, surprises for us. So we hope that we get to experience a year that's a little bit more normal and a little bit straightforward. So what I wanted to do today is just really cover off on some circumstances that we see a lot. Since we released the feature that allows you to hide the prices and run effectively tender style processes or fixed date style processes, we've seen this situation come up a lot. So you can see here that I've got a sale and it's just a demo sale that I've set up, and I've got a whole heap of buyers that have decided to make offers, and they're all over the place as far as prices. You know, we've got as low as 460 all the way through, but we seem to have two top buyers. Now, what tends to happen in these tender processes is you get buyer B. Buyer B is not holding the highest price at the moment. He can't see what the highest price is. He knows that he's not there. He's made the recent offer, but buyer A is still holding the highest offer. And what they'll often do is they'll often put in a price and wait until the very last second. So, you know, they take a bit of almost an eBay style approach to it. So, you know, they wait until the time is about to count down. They don't want anyone else to be able to come in over the top of them. And, you know, they could put any sort of pricing. Again, they can't see what the other offer is. So they're taking a bit of a stab in the dark, if you like. They're just taking a shot to see if they can claim the top spot. But in a lot of cases, they do. You know, in a lot of cases, they make a $5,000 offer or a $10,000 offer, and right at the death knell of the sale, just as it's counting down, and they will wait until the last 5 or 10 seconds for that offer to come in, and then they place their offer. And by the time this buyer understands that the offer has come through, the sale's already paused. And suddenly they're being shown as not holding the highest price. And what happens is agents will often get phone calls at that stage. You know, Billy rings up the agent and says, you know, I would have paid more for it. You know, I didn't get a chance. That last offer came in and I wasn't given an opportunity, or it timed out and it came in the last 10 seconds. And you don't want that. Like, we don't want buyers saying they weren't given a chance. So there's two things here. First of all, in your setup, in your discussions with the buyers, you always want to make it really clear that while you've got that end date to the sale, that is not absolutely the end time. You reserve the right to open this sale up. You reserve the right to give people an opportunity on a reoccurring timer. And as long as you're really clear with buyers about that, as long as you're, you know, very, very clear that this is not a set in concrete, locked in, you know, no opportunity for you to enact any changes type of deal, then they're okay with it. It's only when you say that the sale is going to close at 5 o'clock on Friday night, and that is the absolute deadline. There will be no extension to that. And whoever's holding the highest price gets the property. You know, at that stage, that's when you kind of create problems. So you just have to be clear. Yes, we're running to 5 o'clock, but it's really just to give us an opportunity at that point to sit down and determine where we're at and to make strategic decisions as to what's going to be in the best interest of the sale from that point of view. And we reserve the right to make changes, reopen the sale, set timers, do whatever you need to do. So in this case, what I would do is I would look at it and say, all right, well, I've got a 522 and a 521. I've got a 520 and a 485 and a 460. You know, I might take this time while the sale's paused to put a couple of phone calls into these buyers and just sort of see whether there's any potential, you know, chance for them to increase, but the likelihood that there's not. You know, the likelihood is that these guys have put in one offer, they've been soundly beaten all the way through, and that was kind of their one shot at it. And obviously, you know, we always say market buy is a support tool. It's one of those things that you do need to make those phone calls to the buyers. You just need to be clear about that. And if they are, what I would do is I would probably remove those buyers. So I would just remove them from the sale. And buyer D. And I would go back to these other two buyers again in phone calls. So buyer A, buyer B. And I'd say, look, you guys are really, really close. Obviously, we don't want anyone to feel like they haven't been given the greatest opportunity or the best opportunity to put their best foot forward. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to resume this sale in 5 minutes. And I won't because, obviously this is a video and people will be watching it during a busy time of year. Don't want to make you wait 5 minutes. So I'm going to resume this sale in 5 minutes and I'm going to set a timer for it. So, what I'll do is I'll set a timer that is a 3-minute timer. And you might even decide, if you're at a price that it's going to sell, you might even decide to declare it on the market. So at that point in time, you put your highest price in, which is 522, and set the sale to resume in 5 minutes. Now I'm not setting the sale to resume in 5 minutes. I'm just going to resume it straight away. So basically we'll save the changes on that. It'll say that if you do that, it's going to declare the property on the market. We're happy to do that, and we're going to resume the sale now. And then from there, the sale is now on the market, and the buyers now have that 3-minute timer that will reset with every new timer. The other thing I might want to do is open the sale up. So we'll unhide the prices so everyone can see exactly where they're at. We're only down to 2 buyers now. It's only those 2 buyers that will fight it out. We'll remove the buyers that aren't in the hunt, that aren't in the race. These people can see that their last offer was 521 and they know they're only within $1,000. So, again, they might go 523, put their offer in, goes to the other buyer, and backwards and forwards. And obviously, every time they do that, it resets the timer. So 524, you might get someone who wants to make a knockout bid. So again, someone might come in, they can now see clearly how the bidding's going. They might come in and say 528 or whatever the case may be. And you can see that this will just go backwards and forwards with a resetting timer. Every time there's a new offer, it'll just reset that timer to 3 minutes. It'll show people exactly where they're at. And what you can do there is, obviously you've got an owner who is clearly seeing what's going on. They can see that they've declared the property on the market and that the prices is going up. We've taken out the buyers that weren't in the running. So again, we use market buy in conjunction with the normal stuff that we would normally do as far as making phone calls, determining for ourselves where the buyer's at, making strategic decisions of what's going to be in the best interest of the sale, and making sure that we're making those moves or putting in place the changes that we need to make to ensure that the property gets the very best result every time. And there is an alternative to that. Obviously, while that's counting down, this is a sale that happened not too long ago. And you can see here, this property was on the market for 725 to 765. We had a sale or an offer at 776,500. So over the top of our range of 775, in excess of that. We had another buyer that was at 781. And at that point in time, I seriously considered opening this sale up and letting the buyers fight it out. But what I did first was made the phone calls, did my job as an agent. I rang this buyer and said, hey, obviously the sale's paused. I'm just getting a bit of a feel for where the buyers are at. Is there any more money? Are you prepared to go in and fight for this property? And she said, Dave, my limit was really 770. I didn't really want to go above that. I've gone above that because I like the property, but I'm willing to let it go at this point. I can't put any more money to it. That's as far as I can go. And this was at 7 o'clock at night. So what I did at that point was I then set the property on the market and I set it to end at 12 o'clock the next morning. So I didn't put timers on it. I just put another cutoff date of 12 o'clock that next morning. And I said to the buyer that was holding the highest offer, obviously you've got the highest offer. I've just got to make sure that I'm confident that all the other buyers are 100% out, that they haven't got any more money. I think it's fair and reasonable, in order to protect the interests of my owner, that I give everyone 12 hours or, until 12 o'clock tomorrow lunchtime to consider their position. They want to have a bit of a think about it. And it's important that I can go back to my owners and say that they will give them the very best chance to get the best price. And he said, yep, fair enough, understand. I said, if there are no further offers between now and 12 o'clock. And look, I don't think there will be. The other buyers told me they're pretty much done and dusted. If there's no further offers at 12 o'clock, the property will sell. Obviously, at 12 o'clock, it paused again. I rang the buyer to make sure he was still in at that price. I rang the owner to make sure they were still happy to sell at that price. And then after I'd made those phone calls, 26 minutes later, I closed out that sale. So that's a way to do it where you haven't got buyers who are prepared to go any further. But in this particular instance, we've got these two buyers that have fought it out. We've given them that opportunity to obviously go to their highest and best. And that can go on for ages. You know, clearly those offers could go on forever and a day. You know, we've had situations where we've declared a property on the market and we've set a reoccurring timer, you know, from agents around the place. And you know, those buyers have fought it out for another 20 minutes or another 25 minutes. You know, ultimately it's up to them where they stop. It's up to them to decide at some point that they're not prepared to go any further. They're not prepared to make any offers. And this is where we really start to get into very much a hybrid situation. You know, we've run a fixed date sale. You know, we've run a sale, a deadline sale, or whatever you call it in your marketplace. And then at the conclusion of that sale or at the end of that fixed date, you know, we've made that decision to open it up. And we've opened it up because we've got buyers that are saying they're prepared to offer more. And that happens because people wait for that last second or that last minute to put the offers in. And we never want to be in that situation when we go back to a buyer and say, look, I'm sorry, no, we're not prepared to take any further offers from you, because obviously that doesn't sit well with you as an agent. Certainly won't sit well with the owners if they know about it. And I think while we've got this access to this technology now, you know, we can jump to a more transparent, like we can remove the buyers that weren't in the running. We can remove the buyers that weren't necessarily had any real prospect of purchasing the property. And we can open it up to those two buyers that we know are our A-grade buyers. They're the ones that want to fight. They're the ones that want that property. And so I think it's fair that we just give them that opportunity. You know, it's not up to us to determine what their end price is, and it's not up to us to have everything so set in concrete that we don't give them that chance. And we just open it up on that reoccurring timer. Again, to reiterate, the key to this, the real key to this is to make sure that you are keeping your options open in your discussions with the buyers. The minute you say to a buyer, you know, or to a group of buyers that 5 o'clock is the deadline and that is the absolute deadline for offers to be in, then you're kind of obligated to fulfill that, because that's the instructions that you've given them. Now, buyers will operate under any instructions. We've seen that clearly over the last 40 years. If we tell them to turn up to an auction, they'll turn up to an auction. If we tell them there has to be offers in a closed envelope at a certain time, they'll do that. If we tell them that we can't tell them what the other offers are, they'll accept that. You know, so it's up to us to set those parameters, and it's up to us to set those rules around the sale. So if we say to them, look, 5 o'clock is really that point where I will sit down with the owners, I'll determine where we're at, and we'll make some decisions from there. We may well close it out at 5 o'clock. We might, you know, if that's the circumstances that we deem to be the best foot forward or the best approach, then that's what we'll do. But alternatively, if we've got two buyers that are really, really close and we just want to give them that opportunity to keep fighting it out, we'll remove the ones that aren't necessarily, you know, realistic prospects for the sale. And we'll open it up to those willing and able buyers that want to keep going and want to put their best foot forward. And we'll do it in a really fair way. We'll open up the price. We'll set a timer. That timer will reset with every new offer, and it will give you the very best chance to make sure that you've got that opportunity to purchase the property that you want to purchase. Now, if you put it in those terms and that terminology, buyers really can't ask any more from you. You know, you've given them every chance. Again, you only run into dramas if you say to buyers that it is an absolute set in stone, set in concrete, 5 o'clock deadline, no room to move, no chance for anyone to reopen it up. That's when, because they'll take what you say and they will, you know, obviously that will be the parameters under the sale as run, and that will be their understanding. But if you always say to them that, you know, you have the option, or you reserve the right to reopen that sale if you choose to, then you can get the real benefits of being able to move from one sort of methodology to a second, and you can really create that sense of urgency, and you can really go back and very, very clearly demonstrate to your owners that you've given that sale the very best chance to get the best price. And clearly that's all they ask from you. You know, most owners, their only concern is that it's not necessarily a fixed dollar figure. Their concern is making sure that they've extracted the very best that they can get out of the marketplace, and they've done it in a reasonable period of time. And this is a really, really good way to do that. So that's using market buy to follow what you need to happen. So again, it moves it away. And I think what we've been trying to do over the last couple of years is really say to agents that we need you to move away from just having a really, really fixed mindset on how the sale needs to run. Rather than saying that it has to be either an auction or it has to be a fixed date sale or it has to be a private treaty. With market buy, you have the ability to flow seamlessly between the different methodologies. To make those decisions as the sale goes along and make those decisions that are going to put your owners in the very best position possible. And it's relatively easy to do. Again, the changes are really just changing from a specific date to a countdown time and declaring the property on the market and choosing what our timers will be, whether it's 3 minutes or 2 minutes or 5 minutes or 10 minutes. You get to choose that. So you get to have those discussions with the owners and the buyers, and making sure that everyone's really clear, really understanding of what you're going to do and why you're going to do it. And if you approach it in the right sort of way, then it is absolutely a massive benefit for both you. And once you've declared the property on the market, your involvement in the sale is very, very minimal. At that point, you've done your job. You've got it to the saleable price, and all you're doing is just really opening it up and letting them fight it out for whatever's next, whatever they need to do next. Then you can never have a situation where a buyer comes back and says, I wasn't given a chance, or I would have paid more, or I could have paid more, or you didn't tell me, or, all the stuff that buyers like to throw at agents. You can very clearly go back to everyone involved, buyers, sellers, anyone who's watching, and say that you have done everything possible to give every buyer an equal, fair, and open chance to purchase the property. And you are absolutely convinced that your buyers or your owners have managed to achieve the very best price. Now, as always, I'm always happy, particularly for your first couple when you run it like this, I'm always happy to discuss it with you, to give you some guidance, to, if you get yourself in a situation and you want to have a call and talk about how you're going to take the next steps through the sale, you're always welcome to give me a call, and I'll certainly work through those issues with you. Hopefully that's given you some insights in how you can really use market buy as a very flexible tool, and as a tool that allows you a really powerful strategic opportunity within the sales process. If you've got any questions at all, I'm always free to have a call. Again, I'd like to wish you all a very Merry Christmas. I hope you have a wonderful break. If you are having a break, if you're not having a break, rest assured, market buy is open. We're still on deck and still taking phone calls over the holiday period. And if there's anything you need, just reach out to us. Merry Christmas to you all. Thank you for the guys that have supported us over the year. And we look forward to catching up with many of you over the next year in 2021. Thanks, guys.